welcome back to my channel. So I had a question on my last video about living in my car, and the question was, can you talk about fear and danger being in your mind and how you understood and overcame this? So yeah, this was a really good experience to realize how illusionary most of the fear and the danger the mind comes up with truly is. And I, at this point, had some experience living in the desert. So I understood that there were actual dangerous situations and coming across predators and things like javelina, which are a type of wild, it's called a picarib, I think, but it's kind of like a wild boar that live in Sedona. I'd come across those. I had come across rattlesnakes, I think, at that point. Certainly after that, when I lived in Sedona, I came across all number of wild animals. And when you come across something that is actually a danger to you, you simply react. You just go into fight or flight. There's no story the mind comes up with. So, for example, if you come across a rattlesnake on a path and you hear the rattle, you will quickly jump out of the way. You will feel your body's adrenaline and the heart starts to beat, but the rattlesnake itself isn't out to get you, so you just, go about your business, and the body, it moves through, right? The body just processes it, and within like a minute, you're okay, you're fine. So a trigger is different. A trigger is when we're just sitting maybe in an office and then a coworker says something passive aggressive or like gossips about you and you overhear it and your heart starts to pound, right? So there's no danger. Nobody is about to hurt you. But the mind comes up with a narrative. So the mind might say something like, oh my goodness, like that person is saying this and that about me and my boss is going to hear rumors and then I might lose my job and then how will I pay my bills? The mind starts to spiral in this narrative. And so the heart is pounding, the body is reacting the same way as if a rattlesnake is right there. So that is an illusion. And the fear and the danger that I was experiencing when I lived in my car, it was all illusion. And that is a scenario in which before I actually lived it, I would have thought that I would have been in danger living in my car on a regular basis. I wasn't. I really wasn't. There was one time I accidentally locked myself out of the car at 2 a.m. in my pajamas with no cell phone, no debit card, and it was funny to me that I did that at the time because I realized immediately that it was my own attitude that night. I was angry that day and I think I had just had too much sugar or something. So I was like, and just huffing and puffing around, and lo and behold, I locked myself out. And that immediately put me in a state of, all right, I see how I did this. I'm going to change my mood around. And it ended up being a hilarious night. I made a couple of friends that night. Someone helped me out with AAA and it was totally fine. But that was the closest I came to being in danger. And it's a good story now. So I wasn't. And I think the important thing to know is that the love of something will always overcome any fear or perceived danger. So I was not in a situation where I ended up homeless by default. And I understand that this might be a different experience for somebody who had a tragedy of some sort and wound up there. I chose to do urban camping. I chose it because I loved it. It was liberating. It was fun. I enjoyed more sleeping in my car than sleeping in hotels and Airbnbs. I got a great night's sleep. I never had any back pain the whole time I was living in my car. And I have had chronic back pain since I was 12. It was great. I enjoyed sleeping outdoors in like an encapsulated, car. I enjoyed being around other people all the time. I loved it. So the love of it trumped everything, because I would ask myself, do I want to get a hotel instead? Do I want to go to a different Walmart? Sometimes I would do that in the beginning. I would just drive to different Walmarts until I felt comfortable, but that got old because it was useless. It was no point to it. I would ask myself, do you want to stay in an Airbnb? And sometimes I did. Like, I went up to Sedona a couple weeks after I started living in my car just for fun, because it was going to be warmer there at night, so I could sleep up there at night comfortably. And I ended up booking a hotel after this really long day of hiking, just because I wanted to take, I think I wanted to take a bath or something. I don't even remember. It was just on a whim. And I could, you know? So I always had my options open, but I truly, genuinely enjoyed sleeping in my car. And in fact, when I first moved into my place in Sedona, sometimes for the first couple weeks, I would go out to my car to sleep because I couldn't sleep in the room I was in. And to this day, I sleep on the floor, so I just can't sleep in a bed. I sleep on the floor, and I've been doing that for a couple of years. So it's just personal preference. I was doing something I loved. And the same with the desert. I came across wild javelina, rattlesnakes. I came across coyotes all the time. I think I came across a wild cat once in my neighborhood based on what it sounded like. There were bears out there, I believe. I used to see bear droppings all the time, which was a huge fear thing for me when I first got out there, because I have had encounters, very close encounters with bears in New York. Literally, a bear used to come to the house that I'm in right now. And I once was face to face with one on the other side of my door. And then again, out back, we had bear here a lot. So I had fears about bears, but I overcame that because I just love being outdoors and hiking. And I used to get scorpions and tarantulas in my room I stayed in, and I'd get excited because I love stuff like that. So I don't know, it's the love of it trumps even the survival mechanism in me. And when you realize that a trigger is fake, it's not real, it's just like watching a movie. You're sitting on a couch, so if the movie's causing tears or fear or anger, it's really easy to just laugh it off and be like, that's not happening to me. I'm sitting on a couch. This is a first world problem here, you know? And it was exactly like that. I never was actually in danger. So I hope that answers that question. Thank you so much for asking the question, and I love you guys. Mwah. Have a great day. I'll see you soon.